Hello, welcome back to the channel. Today I'm reviewing a product, but it's not an iron as such. It is a shaft. And the shaft is the Mitsubishi MMT graphite shaft. Now MMT stands for metal mesh technology. And what that is they've got braided 304 stainless steel into the layers of the carbon fibre, and it is predominantly down at the tip section that's designed to give you more stability and control over the club. Now I've never really thought about graphite shafts in irons before, but these are being used a lot more by professionals, especially out on tour. With it being lightweight, sort of 90-95 grams, it's lighter than the shaft I would normally use, which is sort of like around the 120, 125. So I want to test if this shaft is any good for people. Now, people who follow me on this channel know that I'm struggling for launch, I'm struggling for height, and I'm struggling for spin. Now, could this be the answer, the prayer to all my problems? The club I'm going to use the new Apex Pro in it. I'm not reviewing this, I'm only reviewing the shaft, about how it feels. But I'm interested to see if I can get my spin numbers up and if I've got more control with this shaft. So the only thing to do is to get quad on and start hitting some balls and seeing if this shaft is any good for someone of my kind of swing speed. Right, okay, so I've got quad on and I've got the FSX Pro loading up. So I'm going to hit a series of shots with this, let you know how it feels, etc. And then I might put a 95 gram stiff shaft in and see what the difference is. First of all, I'll say to look at, it looks phenomenal. I love the blacked out shaft. I really love it. I think like I could definitely play with this. I like the fact it's lightweight. You know, it means you don't have to swing as hard to what I would normally do to get the kind of speed I would do. That's the theory anyway, because it's 30 grams lighter than what I would normally use. But it's how it performs, that's the question. But looks really good. Bit pulley on that first shot. So the spin's down. Decent club head speed. You know, I'm not going for them at all today. That felt like a really good hit. Yeah, so nice. Feels so feels effortless. Like sometimes with my shafts, I feel like I've got to actually put loads of effort into this. But this just feels absolutely effortless. Now it's going 167, which is fine. You know, I've reined the speed in a little bit because I can't be having 200 yard 7 irons. It just can't happen. Felt fantastic. A little bit pushed out to the right. Spin at 4.5, so it's still a little bit down. You know, this is 33 degree 7 iron. So it's not strong lofted by any means. So it's not picking the spin up as much as I'd like it to. But again, it's down to my launch angles. I need to put this at about 35 degrees. A little bit out the toe. It's done well. It's done really well. Again, consistent 4,500 spin, 162 yards, which is perfect. What it doesn't feel is whippy. Now, some graphite shafts in the past have felt really whippy, but I think the technology now and the R&D into graphite shafts is phenomenal. They just put so much more effort into it. And irons now with graphite shafts has become an absolutely viable option. Felt great. Spin at 4.8 again. It's good for spin. It's been consistent on the spin, definitely. I think with this Apex Pro head, it's actually a really good combination. It just feels effortless, absolutely effortless. So what that mesh technology is designed to do in the tip is stabilize the tip a little bit. This is what's classed as a mid-launch, mid-spin shaft when you put it down to its technology or its specs. And I'm used to using low spin, low launch shafts. So peak height of 86 is fine, it's not ideal, I want it a little bit higher. Descent angle 44, I could do with that coming in a little bit lower. or sorry, from a little bit sort of steeper angle for sure. But it feels great, and it just feels like I don't have to put any effort in at all. That was a great shot. Let's get it right. The iron head itself, it needs to be a couple of degrees stronger for me, or a couple of degrees weaker, sorry. Without a shadow of a doubt, I need to be at 36 degrees 7 irons at the moment. These are just launching too low. But as far as the shaft goes, like it's like it feels great. Like it absolutely feels fantastic. I'm going to hit a couple more, and then I'm just going to change the shaft out and see if there's any differences. But this just feels awesome. Yeah, it just feels great. I mean, that's a low spinner. Last one, and then we shall change the shaft out and see how a normal 95 steel performs. I got hold of that one. Right, let's put a steel shaft in and just see what the differences are when it comes to feel. Okay, so I've now put the Elevate 95S shaft in. And it's the head definitely feels a little bit heavier for some reason than it does with the graphite shaft. Definitely feels heavier. I mean, to look at it, it looks like a normal iron. I just love that black. Similar performance, but really similar spin. Interestingly though, this seems to be peaking out a little bit higher. Definitely preferring the lighter shaft, that's for sure. So yeah, that's a low spinning one. I think lighter shafts is the future for Lee Whitaker, that's for sure. So a couple more of this and then we'll have a little compare. So yeah, I think the spins seems to be a little bit down on this one compared to the graphite, that's for sure. But we'll lower and see the numbers. And just push that one out to the right. Right, so if we look at this then, you can see they're all pretty similar, but the widest one seemed to be with the steel shaft. Let's just have a look up above. So yeah, all in pretty similar places. There's obviously this drop off here. We look side on, there's not a great deal of difference. Possibly the steel shaft is actually launching a little bit higher, which is a bit of a surprise to me, I must be perfectly honest. So the red is the MMT, the green is the steel shaft. So if we look here at the dispersion circle, but this dotted line here, this is where it's going to land 66% of the time. And if you look at the green one all around here, it's a little bit wider, whereas the red is a little bit more concentrated. So 66% of the time, this is the center line here, I'm going to land about 10 yards to the right, or 10 feet to the right of target as an average, but in sort of in this kind of area, which is fantastic. So the controllability is definitely there. We look at the table, then average club speed, not a lot in it, slightly quicker with the MMT, which is great. The ball speed's up by 2 miles an hour. The launch angle is down though, which is a bit of a surprise. I'd have thought that would have been up a bit more. Spin is very, very similar, and the standard deviations are pretty similar. And the carry distance a little bit further with the MMT with a similar spin. We look at the accuracy. It's 156 square yards accuracy, whereas with the Elevate, it's a 300 yard square accuracy. So I'm definitely more controlled with MMT shaft, that's for sure. We look at where we're striking it, we're pretty central with both. So there's not a great deal of difference there, which is good to know. So the strike location is very similar with both, a little bit more concentrated actually with the Elevate than the MMT. Now I could possibly be being a little bit cocky here because I've put the Callaway Apex MB head in on this graphite shaft. Now I've done this because of 2 reasons. 1, it's got a little bit more loft, and 2, I want to hit the MB basically. But I want to hit the MB with this shaft in, with a bit of a lighter shaft, and I feel like I've got more control over it. Can I hit the MB, and does it actually give me numbers that are better spin, better peak heights and that kind of thing with the extra loft? Let's find out. First of all, it feels phenomenal. So spin up at 4.5, so pretty similar to where I was with the Apex Pro, but what the Apex Pro isn't is as good feeling as this. It just feels phenomenal. Feels absolutely fantastic, and it just feels controllable with this shaft in. Now that was a little bit in the toe, so I need to get this more in the center. Oh, that was just a dream shot. Oh, this club feels phenomenal with this shaft in. 5.2 spin, there it is. There it is. Descent angle's still a little bit low, but I don't know, you take 1 degree off this loft and this could be the perfect club. Oh, that felt phenomenal. Yes, 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 yes. Now, there is no forgiveness in this blade whatsoever. But with this shaft, it feels so controllable and so easy to hit. That was a little bit thin, but it's still done really well. Still done really well. What I will say is, for those of you who are like concerned about the graphite shaft, it doesn't feel a great deal different to the metal, as in stability wise. It just feels lighter and more controllable. Oh, that's the one. That is the one. Great peak height, great descent angle, 180 yards carry as well. Like, I know the only problem with graphite shafts in irons is the cost. You are paying more for a graphite shaft than you are for steel, and that's what puts people off. But if you're going to get fit, you've got to look at it and test it out. I fitted Alan, for example, who's coming down and playing with me next week. He went into the KBS 90 graphite shaft with his Maverick Pros, and it transformed his iron game. Well, it may have done, we'll find out on Tuesday. But this is definitely an option for me. It's just such a good club. Right, last shot, and then we shall wrap it up. Just makes you, like, it's one of those shafts and combos, and especially with this head, just makes you want to keep hitting golf balls. Oh, and there's a wonder shot to finish with. 185 yards, great peak height, line ball. Could I play blades? So, Mitsubishi metal mesh technology shaft. It's great. It is really, really good. I'm contemplating after this test of possibly doing this myself this year with whatever set of irons I pick. Is blades an option? Yeah, cost aside, and I appreciate the cost is different, like graphite now has become such a good material when it comes to iron shafts. It's always been in driver shafts, and people, you know, would people do steel in iron drivers now? Absolutely not. And it's becoming, graphite is becoming more and more popular in irons as well. And I think with this MMT technology, this is possibly the best out there. I've not tested them all, so, you know, there's that caveat. But I've tested the KBS 90 and I've tested this, and for me, like, this shaft is just head and shoulders above any other graphite shaft I've tested in an iron, without a shadow of a doubt. It's definitely an option, and it's definitely an option for me. Is this an option for me? So if you've liked this video, please do like down below. It does let me know that you are liking this content that I'm putting out. Also, if you're new to the channel, please subscribe. I do test out clubs, I test out shafts, I will be testing out training aids and things like that. As a mid-handicap golfer, to tell you what my opinion is and show you the misses that a mid-handicap golfer does, the inconsistencies that mid-handicap golfers do. I'm your man. Like, I can miss with the best of them. But what I will say is controllability with this shaft is up there. For the time being, I'm going to leave it there, and I'll see you all on the next video.